What's going on, guys? King Tar Heel here, and today we're going to do our second part of the Crusader Kings 2 guide. We're going to look at two important parts, succession, and we're going to look at some basic military combat stuff. So let's get started. Alright, the first part I want to talk to you guys about is succession laws. Now, succession laws are very important in Crusader Kings 2 because you're playing a whole dynasty. How you pass over power is very important. You'll see this is my son, if you remember our game from prior. This is my son, and he has a -1 opinion of me. But one of the main reasons he has a negative opinion of me is we have a Gravelkind succession. Now, Gravelkind succession means that all of my titles and holdings are divided amongst my children. So that means him being my eldest son, he's not getting all of my power. It's being split up amongst the family. Now, this has certain positives and benefits. One of the positives is your children will generally like you more. They're all getting power. One of the benefits is your children will often be power hungry and be trying to kill each other all the time. So, and it also means because you're passing on you continue playing the game, you can build up a pretty good empire, and then you take over the heir in a smaller empire because it's split amongst all of your children. So it's kind of like starting over every time your person dies. So that can be entertaining to a point, but if you really want to have a big expansive empire, Gravelkind succession over the long haul will not be the best. Sorry, I'm stuttering there. But it does have the benefit. There are some economical benefits. You get more holdings and stuff like that, and there's generally more of your children will like you. So if you go to your law screen, you can check and see the available types of succession. Here you can go through the general laws. Here you can have either only men can inherit, or you can have that women will have a fair game to inherit as well. And then your succession laws will go to seniority. Seniority is the oldest member of your dynasty will become the new leader, and so your brother would become the heir before your son. So then we have where it goes to your children. Your children, obviously, your oldest child will inherit. Again, there are benefits to this, and there are negatives to it. The benefit is you keep your empire together when you pass over, and you'll have a. But one of the big negatives about that is that if your son is a bad guy, if he's ugly, he's slothful, he's lazy, he's an idiot, mentally disabled, or whatever, and he becomes the ruler, all of your vassals' opinion of you are automatically going to plummet. You're going to have lower levies. You're going to have lower tax income. So all of this stuff. So it's putting a lot of pressure on having a real heir and a legitimate heir who can run the throne. If you don't, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and your next empire is going to suffer greatly. Lastly is elective. I haven't delved too much into that, but essentially the lower ranked vassals will get to nominate a successor and vote on a successor. Excuse me. So that they will get to choose who they want to be the successor. This is very popular with your vassals. It can raise their ratings greatly, but it also means that you don't have control of your own dynasty. Their succession laws are very hard to change. Like some of my stipulations is I need to have been reigned for 10 years, and no vassal can have a negative opinion of you. And every time you change a succession law, people are going to be unhappy. Things are going to change. You're going to rock the boat, and people are going to be unhappy. So if you're going to change it, you have to find that sweet spot of being in power for over 10 years, but long enough to recover before you have a change in power. So it can be very difficult to do, but something that can be worthwhile if you don't like the succession laws that are in place. Alright, next we're going to go into the military a little bit. The first thing you need to know is the military is based on levies. Now, levies they don't have standing armies. You essentially raise armies as you go and as you need them. So for that, you have to rely on your vassals. So you can see here on the military screen your availability, how you're able to get your units from your vassals, and you can look at individually per person in your realm who you're able to raise an army from. Now, how much a vassal is going to give you is based on, one, how much they can give you based on their holdings. Castles and temples give more levies than towns. Towns give more money. So if you need more from your realm, you can build castles in your own province. It's expensive to build them elsewhere, as we discussed in the previous video. Or you can improve your relationships with your vassals. The better they like you, the more troops they're willing to give you when you call for them. Now, you can see at the top, if we wanted to raise our vassal levies, this will raise levies from all of my direct vassals. So I can hit this button, and you see all the troops that are available to me from my direct vassals. I can then hit the realm, and this will raise all the troops available to me by people in my realm. And then I can raise your personal levies as well. So I can raise my armies there as well. So one thing to note, as you can see here, is for every 73 days that we have an army raised, you will lose 1 point of opinion from that vassal. So having a very long, drawn-out war can be incredibly costly to your relationship with your vassals, which affects your tax income. The more they like you, the more money they're going to give you for taxes. So having an expensive war can be very, very costly, and if you end up not winning the war, you might not be able to make enough money back to recover. So now that we have our army together, we'll discuss how combat works in the game. First thing you'd want to do if you have a large army like this is you want to combine them all into one unit. So you would select them all and then hit the merge button at the top. Now, okay, and here we can look at our full army setup of 1,770 men, and they have 3 different flanks in the army. The 3 different flanks, you're allowed to put somebody in charge of each flank, so they're kind of like a general, and the person in charge of the center flank is in charge of the whole army, and they get a attack bonus skill, for lack of a better term, on the martial skill, or their military skill. So the higher the military skill, the more damage they're going to do, and the more troops you're going to kill when you attack. Now, you'll see in my case that I actually cannot replace the people as my generals. It says they're too autonomous. Essentially means that they're too independent, and I don't have the authority to replace them. So I'm stuck with them. Fortunately, I have pretty good leaders on each side. Now, in terms of a military aspect, I prefer the tower approach, as I call it. I like to have one big block of men. I find that it's too easy to get picked off. It's too easy to get caught up in skirmishes if you have a lot of small armies floating around. I like the one big tower army, go in, take a point, go in, move to the next point, and have the one army marching around. You also, in military-wise, you need to watch for alliances and stuff like that. So make sure you're calling in for your allies. And remember, armies can be raised virtually instantly. So if you have vassals that you don't want to piss off, so you haven't raised their armies, and you need emergency armies, you can always call to them if someone gets behind your lines and stuff. So that's something to really focus on there. Last point I want to bring up in military is mercenaries. Now, if you have gold, mercenaries can be the difference between being successful and losing a war. They're very expensive. As you can see, 375 gold and 21 gold a month after that. So they can be rather costly. One thing I do want to focus on, I've been in a few bigger battles, and you want to focus on your heavy infantry and your heavy cavalry. They don't take flanking losses or skirmish losses as much, and they're generally just all-purpose troops and can be used for everything. That's what I prefer to work on. But mercenaries are always a good way to go. You might get holy orders if there's crusades going on. Holy orders cannot attack other, in this case it would be Christians. They need to be used for religious wars. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode of Crusader Kings 2 guide. I'll keep working on it. Sorry, it was a little gap between the two. I should have another guide up this week. We'll delve a little bit deeper. So hit that like button, hit that sub button, and that's it, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Bye.